Good evening and welcome to Crosstalk. My name is Reverend Tom Otieno, bringing you this weekly encounter with the cross as the cross intersects our conversations in society and in the church. Today we speak about Christmas. Has Christmas become a ritual? It comes every 25th of December and we eat, we drink, we do all sorts of things. Has Christ ceased to be honored by Christmas? Is Christmas a ritual? And so today we have very interesting guests, very able guests here. We have Maithia Muthama, the student director at Life Ministry. Karibu Maithia.
Asante sana.
And we also have Pastor Benson Nyang'or, and he is a pastor at Intercessors for Kenya. We welcome you both.
Thank you very much, Reverend Tom.
All right, let's go for it then.
Thank you.
Has Christmas become a ritual where Christ ceased to be honored a long time ago? Maithia, take us on.
Okay. The truth is, it has become a ritual. Most of the time when you think about Christmas, it's a time of feasting. It's a time of, if there's no Christmas tree in the house, I'm a father of 4. So when the children start asking, Dad, it's Christmas time. Are you going to get a Christmas tree? So it tends to become a ritual. I remember when I was young, if there was no chapati during Christmas, that was not Christmas. Christmas really was about feasting. And we just used to wonder how fast the service can go during the Christmas so that it can go end.
So the service came in the way of the,
yes,
of the Christmas
the main
itself.
focus was feasting. Yes.
All right. Ben, what is this Christmas ritualizing business?
Yeah, thank you very much, Reverend Tom. Indeed, the question that you're raising, has it become just a tradition? Well, yeah, it is true. We have actually displaced Christ. It's no longer the center of the celebration. It's no longer the person that is really honored. And instead, it has become a cultural activity. It has become a commercial activity. It's about clothes, the gifts. Some people think it's a time to just drink and be merry. And yes, at the house level, it's about feasting, and it's not about Christ, unfortunately. Yeah. So and yet we purport to be celebrating someone's birthday. But does he really matter to us? Who is this Christ that we are saying we are celebrating his birthday on 25th? Who is he? Do I know him? So is it? And what does the food, the turkey, the Christmas tree, and the Santa Claus, and all this got to do with Christ? Yeah, so really Christ has been displaced. It's no longer the center of the occasion that we purport to be celebrating. Yeah.
All right. Now, Maithia, tell us, how did we get here? Or should we say, okay, let's just tell us first, how did we get here? How did we get to the place of ritualizing Christmas?
I guess it just comes to the place of not really understanding what Christmas is all about.
Yeah.
So that just following the traditions of the past. What has been happening in the past 20, 30 years is what we just follow without really asking ourselves, what is the true meaning of Christmas? So that if it's about decorations, we go and decorate. It's also what we also see in the movies, what is painted by Hollywood, that this is actually the true Christmas. So that when you move from the center, what does the Bible really say about what is really the essence of Christmas, then really get to lose a point.
Pastor Benson, you work in and with the church.
Correct. Yeah.
That means you are part of the church. How did the church lose it so that now the church is a distraction to the celebration of Christmas as it's viewed by the masses?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Now, for us to get the context of that is we need to understand how the church has been advancing, or the faith has been advancing over the years. Now, as the church moved from Israel or from the Middle East, going westwards towards Rome, there were issues that came in which were not necessarily Christian, but what we call cultural issues that were brought in. And so as the people advanced the faith, they were also advancing their culture. There were traditions and customs, for example, that were being done in Rome, that were being done in Greece. And so this came into the faith. And so as missionaries progressed, as they were taking the gospel to the other nations, they also brought in their culture and the practices that they found the people in their communities practicing. For example, in Rome, there used to be a feast we call it, they were calling it Saturnalia, and that was celebrated around the 25th of December. And this was a feast basically to honor the change of, they were calling it the solstice, you know. So they were doing it around the 25th, but now Christianity has come. Do we then completely ignore this feast? For example, again, later on, as Christianity went into Germany, they would have this feast, they were calling it the Yule Feast, the Yule Festival, which was a 12-day festival. And they would celebrate that and with the trees and the singing and the gambling and dancing. So as these people came into the faith, they embraced some of these feasts and they could continue to do this. But around the year 336 AD, when the emperor of Rome, Constantine, became a Christian, because as a matter of fact, the early church, people like Paul, people like Peter, did not celebrate Christmas. They didn't. You know, the death of Christ is actually what Christ told us to celebrate, not so much his birth. And the Bible does not tell us when Christ was exactly born. So around the year 336, the church was now grappling with celebrating, do we celebrate the Jewish feasts like Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles, or do we, now that we have become Christians, do we celebrate those old feasts that were celebrated by the Jews, or do we celebrate other feasts? It's also, there was the issue of Passover now became Easter. And then they brought in, you know, the birthday of Christ into the picture. And so around 336 AD, Constantine was able to help the church celebrate Christmas for the first time. That is the year 25th of December, 336 AD. So then, of course, there were differences within the church because there was the Orthodox Church, and then there was the Catholic Church. And so, you know, up to today, actually, they have different days. The Orthodox Church celebrated around the 6th or the 7th of January, because there are also differences in terms of the calendar. Do we use the Julian Caesar calendar, the Julian calendar, or do we use the calendar that was adopted by Pope Gregory the 8th in around 1582? So we still have this, but of course, the issue is there were practices and customs that were practiced by the people, and they brought this into the faith, and that is actually why we now have all this confusion. It's so much about now the customs more than about Christ. So
you are saying, Pastor Ben, that it actually got captured or hijacked right from the beginning?
Correct, yeah. It got hijacked, and okay, I think the upshot is that Christ deliberately left out the celebration of his birth out of the picture.
He was left out from the beginning?
Yeah, the scripture doesn't tell us.
Oh, okay. And those who recorded the scriptures did not, you know, give the exact date? They didn't give the exact date. Neither did they mention celebration of Christmas. Actually, from Genesis to Revelation, you will not find Christmas. Okay? The issue is that if we choose to honor Christ, and of course, not everything is written, and even John, in the ending part of his gospel according to John, he said there are many other things that Christ did that are not recorded. So not everything is recorded. So now the church fathers were struggling with a celebration of Christ's birthday. And so the question is when? Others say that, okay, it looks like Christ died on the same date that he was born. His birthday and his death day, or his date of death, looks like they coincide.
They coincide. So they said, okay, since they settled on 25th of March as the date when he was crucified, so they worked 9 months backward to arrive at December the 25th. So some of them said, okay, 25th of December would be a more likely date for celebrating Christmas. Yeah. But you know, Christ did not give us that. So if we choose to honor Christ, and we choose to honor that, yes, it was important to know that Christ came into the world, and that's an important thing. That his coming into the world is an important thing that we can't remember. But if we choose to do that, when?
Okay. My dear, you are in life ministry.
Yes.
You guys have been around here for 50 years, I hear.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So Life Ministry Kenya began way back in 1973. And the story is, in 1971, when Idi Amin came to power, he started persecuting the foreigners, and the church was affected. So the missionaries that were there moved to Kenya, and that's how they now got to plant Life Ministry. So Life Ministry has been there since 1973. So for the last 50 years, we have been doing lots of evangelism and discipleship. Our mission is to win build and send Christ-centered and multiplying disciples so that everyone really gets to know about Christ.
So what have you guys been doing around Christmas? Do you go witnessing? What do you do with Christmas? How do you celebrate your Christmas?
So Life Ministry is mostly known for the Jesus film. And the Jesus film has been translated in over 56 languages in Kenya. So Christmas is a very busy season for us.
You mean in Kenya, not in the world?
In the world, it's actually been translated in 2,083 languages.
Wow.
That's a Jesus film.
Amazing.
So it's a very powerful tool just to share the gospel.
Okay.
So during Christmas, because Christmas, the major thing is to share the love of Christ, because Christ was born so that we can actually be able to have that relationship with him. So during Christmas, we actually purpose to use those days just to show Christmas showings in different parts of the country. So it's very exciting to see when people see Jesus speaking in their own language, they come to Christ and you now get to
So
start
you see this
discipling
Mzungu
them.
speaking Kikamba.
Yes.
Very
Kamba,
fascinating.
Luo, very nice. So that now helps people to understand really the gospel, the true gospel. Yes.
And what kind of impact have you seen during Christmas with this film?
So when people see Jesus speaking their local language, thousands come to see the Jesus film. And it's amazing that over hundreds give their life to Christ. And because of that, we have even seen some churches planted during the Christmas season. Because the pastor is wondering, these people cannot be able to fit in my church, so we need to plant another church in this area.
So let's partner with other churches
Yes,
and
let's
pastors.
partner with other churches. So churches have been planted, lives have been transformed. And you get to see that, especially as you say, during the festivities season, when people might be drunk or doing all those kind of things, when they come and see the Jesus film, we get to see many coming to Christ in the process. So it's a very exciting season, and we thank God for what has been happening.
Where are we likely to find you during Christmas? Because we want to watch this Jesus movie.
So we will be in a number of places, but Life Ministry also work closely with partners, so that we are not saying that this is just going to be done with Life Ministry. So if you're a church and you want to show the Jesus film, just contact us and just tell us which film you want to show it in. Life Ministry is in 7 different regions, so that we have an office in Kisumu, in Isiolo, in Eldoret, in Nakuru. So you can be able to contact those regional offices and get the equipment to go and show the film.
All right, we're now going to a break. We're talking about Christmas. Is Christmas a ritual? Have we removed Christ completely from Christmas? So we are doing our own things in the name of Jesus. We're taking a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Our mission is centered on Christ's call of the Great Commission, but we don't do this work alone.
So we are 24 years on air. And we can do that because you helped us to do it, to fulfill what Jesus was asking me to do.
Join us on Behind the Scenes and get inspired through candid conversations with our partners as they share their life stories and why they are committed to supporting family media.
Family media has really helped me personally to grow. And one of the reasons why I give is because I would want others also to grow like me.
I believe there was a nudging in my spirit to know God for me, such that even though I moved away and experimented in life, God made sure that I found my way back.
Also, stay in the know of activities we are involved in as we keep Jesus on the airwaves. Behind the Scenes every Friday at 8:30 p.m. and repeats on Sundays at 9 p.m. only on Family TV.
Welcome back to Crosstalk, and we are talking Christmas matters. Has Christmas become a ritual where we do our own things and we have left Christ out? He's no longer being honored. With me in the studio, my dear Mudama from Life Ministry, Student Ministry Director. We have Benson Nyang'or from Intercessors for Kenya. Now, how do we then de-ritualize Christmas? How do we reclaim it? What must we do to reclaim it? Pastor Ben.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think the most important thing is the person of Christmas, the person who should be at the center of Christmas, Christ himself. So once we get to know that it's not about the activities, it's not about the traditions, it's not about what we do, but it's about relationship. How? Because there's no denying that Christ was born into the world, but why was he born? Why did Christ come into the world? He came to save us, to bring us reconciliation with God. And so if we get that right, and we as a church choose to emphasize Christ, his mission. He came to seek and to save that which was lost. Then that should actually inform the change and the trajectory in reclaiming Christ. Now, it's important, number one, Christ was born, but he also lived. What did he do? So as we think about his coming into the world, born, yes, born where? So you may remember those other activities, yes. It's not so much about the reindeer, it's not so much about the Christmas tree and all that, but it's about Christ. And then secondly, he died to bring reconciliation between God and man. He died to pay the penalty for our sin, because the biggest problem we have in the world is a sin problem. But God's love is revealed in the coming of Christ, to reveal God's love so that you and I may be reconciled back to God. So that is really the essence of Christ. So when we celebrate him, we should be celebrating that mission, that purpose. Yeah, that should be indeed.
That should be the reason.
Yeah, that should be the reason.
My dear, how do we reclaim Christmas?
During the month of December, I'm thinking this is a great opportunity also for the church just to train and teach what is really Christmas all about.
Yeah.
For those 4 Sundays, just helping people to appreciate and understand, because this is a great opportunity. You will discover that most of the people who don't go to church, they actually go to church on Christmas, because at a time, as tradition is go to church, then feasting begins. So you can actually take that advantage as a church to be able to share the gospel and help them understand what Christmas is all about. In Life Ministry, we have an app called the Jesus Film app, so that for some of us who might not be able to get those tools to show the film, you can actually be able to download an app, the Jesus Film app, and there are resources that also helps people understand what Christmas is all about. There's one clip that helps people understand that Christmas is really all about really helping people understand the love of Christ. So watching those clips and also sharing them on your WhatsApp status helps now to change the narrative, so that it's not about the festivity, it is really about what Christ is all about.
Benson, thank you very much, my dear. Benson, how should families celebrate Christmas in the spirit of reclaiming Christmas? Right now, there's a lot of binge eating, binge drinking, going on holiday. I mean, going on holiday is not a sin, And so, in your pastoral wisdom, how can a family relate with Christmas in a manner that honors Christ?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, these activities we do are not in themselves bad at all. If they are neutral, there's some activities that are neutral, but the binge eating, the binge drinking and all that, the question that we need to ask ourselves as individuals and as a family, what am I doing that may dishonor Christ? Is the eating and perhaps even sometimes we even take it to very, very immoral levels. Yeah, but the question is, at a personal level, does what I am doing in the name of Christmas honor Christ? Is it so much about I must get a new dress or a new shirt, or about this phone? These are peripheral issues. I think at the family level, there's nothing wrong with eating. You can actually celebrate. But I think we also need, as a family, to consider, are we sharing Christ? Is there scripture sharing, for example? Is there prayer? Is there a deliberate effort to return to honor the Christ whose date or whose birthday we purport to be celebrating? So we can come together, yes, families can come together, but let there be a portion in your coming together to share the love of Christ, to tell people about Christ. Let there be room. The Bible says that when he was born in Bethlehem, there were so many people who had come to Bethlehem. Why? Because it was a time of the census, and Caesar Augustus had ordered a census to be done throughout the Roman Empire. And so those who came from Bethlehem, for example, had traveled back, and there was no room. There was absolutely no room. There was no house where Christ would be born. And eventually, Joseph and Mary found a manger, just a place for animals. That's where Christ was born. The question then is, in our family, is there room for Christ? As we celebrate, as we think about all this, but is there room for Christ in our activities? Have we planned that, yes, we'll eat the chicken, we'll eat the chapatis and all that, but is there room for Christ? So have we provided an opportunity to pray, to honor him, even to sing praises to him. So those are the things that we need to think about as a family. Do we have room for him? Or we have locked him out completely and it's now about ourselves and about the eating and about the Santa Claus, you know, and about, the Coke and all those things.
Speak to individuals, my dear, and tell us, how can an individual during Christmas honor Christ? What are those individual activities we can do as Christians, or even people who are not Christians who want to know Christ? Because Christ is marketed during Christmas. So what can I do?
So very, very important. So the first thing is just getting to understand during this season. So if you're a Christian, get just to read the Bible and understand the whole story, the whole narrative. Even getting sometimes just to do a study, just understanding how Joseph, Mary took the journey to Bethlehem, and just getting to understand who Christ really is. So this is a great opportunity to be able to grow in your work with Christ. For families, just coming together. If it's possible to even do a study. During this time, there are many studies that are released. So you can actually be able to do a study for a week during this time to see some ways to be able to grow. This is also a good opportunity to just pray as a family, pray as an individual. This is a time to be able to just reflect, now that it is December, reflecting through the year. What are some things that you have done that have glorified God? So that if there are some things that you have done that have not really glorified God, 1 John 1:9 says, confess your sin, and he's faithful and just to forgive us. So this is a time to reflect, to confess, and to really restart your life in a way that really gets to glorify God.
Yeah, we're going to shift gears a bit now. We're going to talk about what it is that doesn't belong to Christmas. You know, as you said earlier, Pastor Ben, that Christmas came with a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things were loaded onto it, that some which were cultural, some which were pagan. Can we identify those things that don't belong to Christmas? Or to the story of the nativity or story of Christ?
Yes, yeah, true. Now, the eating may not necessarily belong to Christmas, but
Is it
neutral.
eating or overeating?
The overeating, you know.
Because we have to eat.
The feasting, yeah, you can feast, but it's not necessarily the feasting that's bad. But let's feast as we think about Christ.
Yeah.
But there are also other things that we imported from Europe. Part of the pagan practices that came from Europe, like the Christmas tree. You don't really need the Christmas tree. There are things that we today have, like in 1931. Coca-Cola paid an artist to just depict for them this person. There's a person that was called Saint Nicholas of Maria from Turkey, and he had been known for being very generous, very a very philanthropic person, and so that became part of the traditions of Christmas. That oh yes, there's a person called Saint Nicholas. In America, they call it now Santa Claus. Because St. Nicholas is actually Santa Claus. Now, Santa Claus has nothing to do with Christ. You know, we may be honoring a saint.
So this is a person who was created. Okay, St. Nicholas. Where did he come from?
Yeah, he lived in Turkey. He lived in Turkey and died. But he was known for his philanthropy. Later on, of course, as the church progressed, he was honored, and then
so the church
adopted him,
canonized him, and
yes.
made him a saint.
And made him a saint, and then they celebrated him around Christmas time, and so around 1931, Coca-Cola paid an artist to help them market Coke during Christmas, because it's a lot of eating and a lot of drinking.
So that's how Santa Claus became a phenomenon.
So they use the Coca-Cola colors, the red and whatever, and so you have this short fellow.
Is that so? So yeah, the red is actually it's amazing. It's not that Saint Nicholas wore a red thing.
No, nothing. So it has nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with the commercialization of the activities, and it's really nothing to do with. I talked about the trees. Nothing to do with the winter thing, because some of us we don't even have winter. But in America they say, oh, we're talking about a white Christmas, so we've got to paint some, bring the tree, then put some cotton there to make it look like it's winter time. What is that got to do with Christ?
So you're saying Christ was not born during winter?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. As a matter of fact, the Bible says that the shepherds were out there with their flocks at night. Who would be out there with the flocks in night, in the nighttime?
During winter.
During cold winter, you know? Yeah. So these are now some of the traditions that have come to us from the West. As the missionaries came, they also came with some of their traditions. And so, of course, in Europe, they were celebrating this around what they call the Yuletide, when they were having... there was a feast that was a pagan feast that was done around December, 12 days long, and they would cut trees and bring them into the house. Then all those things. So these ones now came with Christmas. When the missionaries came, they continued to do some of these things, and really we don't have to do that. You don't have to cut a tree and then bring them into the house. It's not necessary.
But did the pagans have attach any significance to that particular tree?
Yes, of course. Actually, in Germany, for example, and in Scandinavia, they believed that the tree would bring them good luck.
So it was a tree of good luck.
It was a tree of good luck, that it would chase away the devils. And so when you bring the Christmas tree to the house, you believe that this tree actually now is idolatry, because you are actually putting your confidence in the tree. The tree will chase away the demons. So when you bring the tree and put it in a corner of your house, intrinsically, you're actually idolizing the tree or the customs that these people believed in, that when the tree is brought into the house, there will be good luck and the demons will be chased away. Nothing to do with Christmas.
Okay. My dear, what is it that doesn't belong to Christmas? What should we remove and what should we retain?
Yes, so as you mentioned, the Christmas tree, I wanted to add that some of the things that they used to do then is also ringing the bells. Yes. When you ring the bells, they are meant to also drive away the evil spirits. So those are some of the things that when you're decorating the Christmas tree, you put the bells.
So that's the significance of the bells on the Christmas tree.
Yes, that was them. So that is just traditions that have been put so that when you're decorating, you don't have necessarily to have such things. So the other thing that we need to also not to understand that Christmas is also not all about feasting. It's not all about traveling. Sometimes we feel that when you're not celebrating Christmas in the rural areas, then that is not really true Christmas. So just get you to understand that as long as you're family and you're really getting to spend time together, gifts are not bad, but sometimes if there's no money to give gifts, that does not mean that is a half Christmas. That is still Christmas as long as you spend time together and able just to appreciate what God has done in that season.
Papa, I'll just add something there.
Yes, please, go ahead.
During Christmas, many families overspend in the name of celebrating Christmas. So come January, you realize that you've got school fees to pay, you've got the rent that is, simply because you feel obligated to overspend at Christmas time. Really, it has nothing to do with Christ. Nothing to do with Christ. Now, also, there are other activities that we do, and one of them is, let me just mention that some people believe that you've got to have turkey. If you people that studied in Europe and maybe from England, that is the time when they're looking for turkey.
And what is the significance of the turkey?
Okay, there are all kinds of beliefs, but the turkey was actually brought into this by the royal family of Great Britain when King Henry VIII decided to change from slaughtering geese around Christmas time, and said he would have turkey, and then it was popularized by Prince Albert, the husband of Queen Victoria. Remember, like Victoria and all that. So the Victorian England now brought in turkey, but they are all associated with good luck.
It's all good luck.
It's all good luck.
Wow.
And really, it's nothing to do with Christmas. So you don't have to. Okay, you can eat your chicken, you can eat your ugali, you can eat your mboga, and you're still honoring Christ. I think the most important thing is the person Christ. Are we honoring him? What's the other place?
I must thank you, gentlemen. Pastor Benson Nyang'oro, Intercessors for Kenya. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Did you have something to say? You wanted to add anything?
Just wanted to ask that given this season, now that Christmas is a special season, let us really remember the reason for Christmas. It's not about celebrating, it's not about partying. It is really appreciating what God has done for us and really getting to glorify Him even this season.
My dear Mudama, Student Ministry Director, Life Ministry, thank you for coming to the show. Benson Nyang'oro, Pastor Benson Nyang'oro, Intercessors for Kenya, thank you for coming to the show. You guys have educated us, and we are the richer for you having been here. Well, viewers, we've been watching Crosstalk. Today, we have interrogated the issues of Christmas and how we have ritualized it and taken Christ out of it. I want to urge you to not binge drink this time, not binge eat this time. Take time to honor Christ with Christmas. This has been Crosstalk, the program where we bring the cross to interrogate conversations in society and the church. My name is Reverend Tomotieno. Till next week, God bless you and Merry Christmas.